If you want to improve your French, if you want to speak more fluently with better pronunciation and making fewer mistakes, this is a very simple three-step process that you can follow to improve relatively fast, to improve your speaking skills, right? So the only thing you're going to need is a list like this, a list of sentences, practical sentences for conversation in a two-column document with French here and English or whatever your native language is here, and also audio files for the French part. That's all you need, right? You can create your own or you can use mine. And then once we've got that, we're going to do three main things. First thing is listening to the sentence list over and over again. I'm assuming you have a basic understanding of the language. If you are starting from scratch, maybe you'll have to memorize some vocabulary. But again, French is not a very difficult language for an English speaker. Vocabulary is relatively similar because of historical reasons. So you will probably do well even without memorizing vocabulary. So the first thing we'll need is to just find time during the day to listen to the audio files, and you binge listen to the this sentence list, which will be text to speech software. So it will be very robotic and boring, nowhere near as fun as listening to a podcast, but it's more effective when it comes to making you speak, right? Listening to 10,000 sentences 20 times each is much more effective when it comes to making you speak than listening to conversation podcasts or listening to whatever, watching films or watching dumb videos on YouTube or anything like that. Repetitive listening to useful sentences will help you way more when it comes to speaking, right? So, as boring as it is, you'll have to listen to uh, this list or something similar, or your own sentences if you've created your language islands. But you need to listen to them over and over again. That's exercise one. Exercise two will be shadowing. So it doesn't have to be after listening to them. You can listen to the sentences. In fact, you should probably listen to the sentences daily while you drive or while you work out or something. And also then sit down in front of the computer, play the audio file, same audio file you're listening to, and read the sentences while that you're listening to at the same time, and you shadow them. That means you repeat them aloud while you are listening to them, right? You play the audio and you say them aloud while you're listening simultaneously, like if you were singing a song, right? That's number two. This will help you your pronunciation a lot and also your fluency because it will make you say a lot of sentences in a relatively short amount of time. You get a lot more speaking practice by doing this uh, per hour of practice than talking to people, because when you are talking to people, if you are still a beginner, you don't have much to say, you're not able to say much, so you won't say much, so you don't practice much. But if you're doing this 20 minutes a day, half an hour a day, 1 hour a day, you're saying hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of sentences aloud, which means lots of reps, which means when you are in fact in front of people, you will be able to say way more because you've been training. Yeah. So do a lot of this. Just shadow it, play it, and then repeat the sentences aloud. And finally, and this is the most difficult by far, but also really effective, active recall. This basically means reading the sentences in English or in Spanish or whatever your native language is. You know, a lot of people from Brazil or Russia watch me, so you don't have to use English here, but you read them in your base language and you translate them into French and you try to say them, like translate them mentally. You don't look, and you try to say them aloud. And then you check, and if you made a mistake, and you will make a lot of mistakes at first, you notice where you made your mistakes and you repeat it aloud correctly one more time, right? And then you do it with the next sentence. and then with the next sentence, and so on. And you keep doing that until you're satisfied with your level. If you can speak enough to have basic conversations and you're fine with that, then okay. But if you want to speak flawlessly, then basically you have to keep doing this translation exercise and uh, checking your mistakes and then saying it aloud correctly over and over again until you get all of them correctly. You could also do it in writing, although if you goes to speak, doing it aloud, speaking it aloud is more effective. Anyway, this is how you get good at speaking French fast. Trust me, I had 4 years of classes of French in uni. My French sucked. My French and everyone else's in that class sucked. Then I started with the comprehensible input stuff. I read over 100 books. I spent infinite amounts of time watching stuff, listening to stuff in French. And yes, I did improve with that, but my speaking never really got going until I started doing this kind of exercises. It's boring, but it's way more effective and time efficient than any of that, right? So, yeah, please do it if you want to speak fluently.